Hey everyone. So what we're going to do in this example is we are going to practice moving our variables around, or moving our pronumerals around. Um, so I used a kinematics equation. E is the kinetic energy, M is the mass, and V is the velocity. And this comes from science, so I'm kind of pulling from some of my science background for this one. So what we're going to do in this one is we are going to make M the subject is what we've been asked to do. So to make M the subject, we're going to have to isolate or move M onto one side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, because the symbol between M and V is multiply, I'm going to divide by V squared. And I'll divide E by V squared. Sorry, my E is so messy. I was fighting with my stylus. So that takes care of these two V's. So I'll rewrite things, and that is 1/2 M over mass and kinetic energy over velocity squared. Okay, so M's not quite isolated yet. Remember, if you will, that this can be rewritten. So I can rewrite this as M over 2, and it's going to make a little bit more sense to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'll take 1 second and I'll rewrite this as M over 2, just so it makes a little bit more sense to do that, M over 2. So the next thing I'll do is I'm going to multiply by 2 and multiply by 2. My 2's cancel out on this side, so that leaves me with M equals 2E over V2. And you'll remember from the note that I left you is that the variable, the pronumeral that's the subject, is usually written by itself on the left-hand side. So I'll just rewrite this as mass equals 2 times kinetic energy over velocity squared. So there we've rearranged, or we've made M the subject. Round 2. This time what we're going to do is we're going to make V, or velocity, the subject. So similar idea, I'm going to start by getting velocity by itself. So because the operation between velocity and mass is multiplication, I'm going to divide this side by mass, and I'm going to divide this side by mass. My masses cancel out, leaving me with 1/2 V2, sorry, that was my stomach, I'm a little hungry, kinetic energy over mass. So now don't forget that this again can be written as V squared, or velocity squared, over 2. So I will just do that really quick. That's velocity squared over 2 equals kinetic energy over mass. I'm going to multiply by 2 and multiply by 2. My 2's cancel out, and so velocity squared equals 2 times the kinetic energy over mass. And finally I have to get rid of the squared symbol, so I'm going to take the root, and I'm going to take the root. And then velocity will equal the root of, I don't know why I'm writing this in red, the root of 2 times the kinetic energy over mass. And I believe that we could also write this as a positive or negative, because again, when you take the root, you're going to end up getting two different answers, a positive answer and a negative answer. So in this situation, you could write positive or negative. And if you want to apply this to the physics reference, a positive velocity means that you're moving in a forward direction, and a negative velocity means that you're moving in a backwards direction, or you're accelerating in a positive direction or accelerating in a negative direction, speeding up or slowing down. So there you go. There we have rearranged, or made variable the subject. Finally, we can also substitute. And so when you are given questions like this, you're given values. So I've been told that the mass is 4 and V is 5. My inner science teacher is losing my mind because units are not provided in this, and usually we provide units, but I'm just kind of following along and using this example. So I'm just going to keep proceeding. We know that E equals 1/2 m, so I'm going to write that as bracket, and then I write in the value for m as 4. And then we have v squared. So again, that's going to be 5 squared, and the 5 should be comes from right here, and our 4 comes from right here. So the next thing I do is I'm going to just rewrite things. 1/2 times 4. We'll get to that in a second. What's 5 squared? 25. Half times 4 is 2. Times 25. And if you have a calculator, you could probably compress this down much more easily to get 50. And there's how you solve by substitution given values within your equation. I hope this is helpful. Enjoy the practice.